Now, the Israeli ambassador to Ireland, Dana Erlich, has been called by Leas Comhairle, Connolly, to appear before politicians to be, quote, made account, unquote, for the propaganda, the alleged propaganda she is spreading. Paul Murphy, People Before Profit TD, you want the ambassador to be expelled. Tell us why.
I mean, what we're seeing in Gaza is just horrific. It's beyond words. The rate of casualties is just well beyond anything we've seen for a long time. 250 people being killed a day, over 100 of them being children. The targeting of journalists, of hospitals, the vast majority of the population in Gaza being forced to flee their homes, the majority of homes being destroyed. I mean, over 30,000 people killed. And what is about to happen may go even worse, where basically about 1.5 million people have been forced to flee to a city in the south of Gaza called Rafah, where they were told this is a safe zone. They're crammed in there together.
Okay.
And
Paul,
now Israel
I don't
has
want to cut
said,
across you. I think we
yeah,
can all agree what's happening is horrific. We can all agree on that. How is expelling the ambassador help? I think that's the question I wanted to. I'd like
because
you to.
where they were told this is a safe zone. They're crammed in there
Okay,
together. And
Paul,
now
I
Israel
don't
has
want to
said,
cut across you. I think we
yeah,
can all agree what's happening is horrific. We can all agree on that. How is expelling the ambassador help? I think that's the question I wanted to. I'd
yeah,
like you
because
to address.
we have to take action. So the Irish government has had stronger and stronger words of criticism for Israel as this horror and genocide has unfolded. But the Irish government has also failed to actually do anything to try to stop it, to try and put pressure on Israel to stop it. And one of the things that we can do is to try to isolate Israel on the world stage. So the other day, Micheál Martin described Israel as behaving like a monster. Simon Coveney described Israel as behaving like a rogue state. So what should happen to states that that's the correct description, are behaving like monsters or rogue states? They should be isolated. So Ireland should join with South Africa, with Bolivia, with other countries that have severed all diplomatic ties with Israel, that have sent the ambassador home, in order to send a message across Europe and the world that we do not stand for this, that this massacre needs to stop, that they
Showboating,
must not invade
grandstanding,
Rafah.
grandstanding. Basically, that's what you're
We
saying.
have to do everything that we can. We can all see it on our TV screens,
See,
on our
the
phones.
argument against it, Paul, is that diplomacy is important. Lines of communication are important. Like if, for example, we expel the Israeli ambassador, that's great. It makes headlines for a day. What happens the following day? And what will probably happen the following day is the Irish ambassador to Israel will be expelled. Then there's no
Yeah.
lines of communication. Like those lines of communication were really important last November when we were trying to get Irish citizens aged 4 and 6 out of the Middle East. They were really important. Like you close off those line of communications, what are you left with?
Irish citizens are still in Gaza, being held hostage by Israel because Israel doesn't like
All
those
the more
particular
reason to keep
Irish citizens.
the
Tho-
lines of
tho-
communication open.
th-
Then no.
those Irish citizens, I'm fairly certain, are in favor of us doing everything that we can to stop the massacre. The way to make people in Gaza safe is to stop the bombs raining down and to avoid this coming invasion, which would see potentially tens of thousands of more people
Yeah.
killed and the rest of them forced into the Sinai Desert.
How would that stop that happening? How would expelling the
It,
Israeli ambassador
it,
stop
it
that
will
happening?
it won't stop it by itself, but it will add international pressure. If Ireland became the first European country to expel the ambassador, to say we're not having anything to do with this apartheid genocidal regime, the thing that will happen the next day is there will be discussion in the Spanish state, there'll be
Yeah.
discussion in Belgium, there'll be discussion elsewhere to
Will
isolate Israel.
or will other countries just shrug their shoulders and go, actually, do you know what? We believe in diplomacy. We believe diplomacy works. This isn't the way to go. And Ireland will get headlines for a day and then the world will move on. That seems to me a much more likely scenario.
But sure, look, I mean, Micheál Martin went to Israel. He participated in some sort of propaganda tour with Israel, played all nice with them, didn't attempt to visit Gaza. And did that work? Did Israel stop the bombing?
So
No, they stepped it up. They continued
diplomacy,
to
as
massacre
far as
these
you're
people.
concerned, diplomacy doesn't work.
We need to build a people power campaign internationally to force every state to do everything that they can to to put pressure on Israel to stop. Israel needs to be pressurized. They won't be sweet talked into stopping. There's a national demonstration this Saturday at 1 o'clock at the Garden of Remembrance. I would encourage people to come on that to demand action. So we should be suspending the EU-Israel Association Agreement. We should be expelling the Israeli ambassador. We should not be shaking hands with Joe Biden at a time when he is arming Israel and supporting the genocide. So action
now we
that
should
we
cut off
do,
diplomatic relations with the US as well, the US president as well.
no, but we should not be handing over a bowl of shamrock to Joe Biden when this could not be happening without.
But like what you're saying is, we should cut off our noses to spite our face, basically.
No, I'm saying when we can see a massacre and a genocide unfolding before our eyes, we have a moral duty and actually a legal duty under the Genocide Convention to do everything that we can to try to stop it. So we should actually be
just
taking
out of
action.
curiosity, did you call for the Russian ambassador to be expelled when they invaded Ukraine? It's a genuine question. I can't remember. I don't know the answer to it.
I would not cry any tears if the Russian ambassador was sent home.
That's not what I asked you. That's not what I asked you. Did you call
but,
for the Russian ambassador to be expelled when they invaded Ukraine?
It's entirely clear. It's entirely the EU is opposed to Russia, and correctly so. And so it's very, very clear where Ireland stands and where the EU stands on the world stage on that. And Russia is isolated.
You didn't call for the Russian ambassador to be expelled.
Because I didn't, because the EU is not supporting Russia. The EU is opposing Russia, whereas the EU, unfortunately, the European Commission von der Leyen went to Israel, gave her the green light for the genocide that is happening. Germany is supporting. So we need to make a statement to say we're not in with the European majority on this. We are standing for the rights of the Palestinians.
Paul.
And one of the things that we can do, and that would have an impact, and again, there's no single thing that the Irish government can do.
Yeah, okay. We'll leave it there. Paul Murphy, People Before Profit TD, thank you for talking to Newstalk Breakfast. Let us know what you think. 087 1400 106.